Hello and welcome to the Macro Chat Live Show. Hey everyone, look who's in the house. We have Jackie Kramer. I'm so excited, Jackie. We get to actually be with each other, virtually, but it's still a blast. This is something that I've been so excited about. And Jackie, I've been telling Jackie, I have the chat going over here to the left. So let me just tell Jackie real quick. I'm going to go down real quick. We're going to tell Catherine's here, Jan's here, Bill's here, Val Wardell. I could be butchering your names. I'm sorry. Serene, Vita, Teresa, Swamp Dude, Padmas, wearing a smile, Chris. Oh my gosh. No, see, some of the names are like totally maybe different. Denise. I don't know how to say Noel Sart. I'm sure Robert, Marion, Kathleen. Woohoo, Kathleen. We both know Kathleen. Beverly, Daniel, Conrad, and I'm sure there'll be more. So welcome so much, everyone. Say hi to everyone.
Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you so much for having me on, Janice.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. You have such beautiful work. And I did want to say something really quick to everyone, that not only is your work beautiful, you write as elegant as your work. I think people should check out your blogs and, the blog that when you write your stuff, I'm just saying to myself, wow, I really wish I could write the way you write. It's very elegant. So that was something it was hard for me to pull away from the writings within the imagery. So that was something I wanted to tell you that I really respected out of you. It's really hard for me to write. So I was really like, wow, everything flew, nicely within your blog. But we have so much to say, so much to do. And there is tons of people here that really want to dive into your stuff. So let me just do some real quick stuff. I just want to let everyone know that we have this show every other week, and once a month I have a special guest, just like Jackie. Jackie's here, and I wanted to make sure she has been so gracious, and I made sure that all of her imagery is ready for you guys. Before we get started, I just want to do a real quick show promo, and then after that, we're going to dive into Jackie. The Macro Chat Live Show is brought to you by SJP's membership program, a membership program for macro and landscape photographers. The membership program will work on your journey. We have monthly challenges, live calls, bonuses, and live workshops for you to attend. To see more details, head on to membership.sullivanjphotography.com. Check out our 14-day free trial. Okay, you guys, now, I did tell Jackie I had to do a shout out. Jackie, your fluorography group is absolutely amazing. You have 5,253, I think, the last time that I checked. But I want to give a shout out because I believe that a lot of these chatters over here are from your amazing group. You want to talk about that just real quick? Because I am going to put that link down below.
Oh, yes. I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for all of you. I call the group Fluorography, Artistic Floral Photography. It's a play on words because it's a combination of photography and floral photography. And it started a few years ago after I taught my second workshop, and everybody asked me to send them a handout by email, and I didn't know how I was going to remember which email went with which person. So I decided at that time I would start a Facebook group for anyone who took any of my workshops in which they could ask any questions they wanted and share up to an image a day. And it grew organically from there. And as you mentioned, Janice, we now have over 5,200 people from around the world. And that's what makes it special. It's the people who are in the group. The group is really there to enrich each other's lives, and I'm dinging.
That's okay. It's all good. I get dogs barking.
It's the medium of photography. So I'm happy that so many of you are here tonight, and we'll be watching the recording later.
Yeah, a lot of them had said, can we watch later? Because like you say, they're all around the world. So before we dive into your images, the first thing that I really like to be able to talk to you about, because this is about Jackie. We will have a critique, which is fun. But I do want to know, basically, how did you begin this journey to where you are at the moment with your photography? I would just love to know how you got started, and let everybody else know what brought you through to this beautiful moment in your life.
Well, it started when I was fairly young, not with a camera, but with a passion for art and nature. I started doing painting, oil painting. My grandmother used to take me to a lady's house and she taught lessons, and we had canvases on easels, and that was how it started. And then it just evolved over time until my dad brought a camera back from Japan when I was 16 years old, and I just got on my bike and I rode to the gardens and to the beach, and I photographed birds and flowers. And that was quite a long time ago in Sarasota, Florida. And I've never let go of my art. I wanted to become an artist, but I took a detour at my parents' urging and became an engineer. I had a career working for the Environmental Protection Agency, and I've transitioned now into doing art full time. I took a little hiatus from the photography during the period between film and digital, and I got into beading, seed beading, which I am also very much in love with because of the colors. And I think that I'm really drawn to the small things. And then once I embraced digital, I got back into photography, and here I am now.
Yeah, this, isn't it interesting the way you could just play, and I could see the artistic, everybody, if any of you guys have not, if anybody on the show that say doesn't know Jackie, then AD down below has put down her website. You've got to go there, check it out right now as we are chatting, because the work is absolutely gorgeous. And then, when you say beading, what do you mean by beading? I'm curious. Is that like making bracelets or something, or what is that?
Actually, little small seed beaded. I've done jewelry and.
Oh, is that what you have on right now?
No, actually, I'll show you.
Okay. Sounds good. See, this is Jackie's eyes, everyone. This is great. I love it. This is great.
So, I don't know if you can see, but these little bottles.
Oh, okay.
These are just some examples of things that I've done. They're little
Oh my
bottles.
Gosh, those are great.
And and then I've got some wall hangings that are large. Some of the projects can take about 200 to 500 hours. These are small. These take about 20 to 30 hours a piece.
Wow. And you're such a busy woman too, doing that too on top of it. Wow.
I don't do it anymore, but I have furniture full of beads. It's behind me. If you see, let's see.
Yes.
See the drawers that pull out? They're full of beads and beaded jewelry. So, yeah.
That sounds like so much fun too. I used to do applique, with my grandmother. So, it's funny how you just have these little side things, but now you just don't have time. I don't have time, and I know you don't. You're a busy woman. You got workshops. We're going to share Jackie's workshops towards the end, where you guys can get your calendars ready, get everything ready so you can see what Jackie's going to be up to. But what I'm going to do now is that we're going to go ahead, and I see you guys chatting over there. Woohoo! Love it. Love it. And AD, if you see someone chatting that needs a question, then let me know, because I will make sure that I've got to, I want to make sure that I answer the questions that they may have that's really important. So they're all saying, happy to be part of Florography. This is Eileen, such a talented group where we share our work and make floral friends. How sweet is that? That's really sweet. Very nice.
So true, Eileen.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk. I'm going to jump on now. You've given, Jackie's been so gracious, and she has gotten this all worked out. So we're going to think about, I want to know while you're photographing, do you have a vision, or are you just playing? And then, post-processing, the same thing. Kind of like, do you have a vision, or are you just playing? But let me get on to Lightroom. And we can go ahead, AD, and share the screen. And then Jackie, you've given me these in sequence. So I'm assuming that you're going to be telling me a story and the rest of everyone a story on the sequence that you've given me.
Sure, I will. I wanted to start with these because if anyone has seen me talk, I have a little segment in which I compare flowers to people, because I do feel that there's a lot of personality in some of the flowers and in the way we shoot them, just like we do with people. So this, for example, is that's my mother. Hi, Mom.
Oh,
And it's a backlit image, and I feel like it's a very sophisticated pose. And I liken it to the past flower that is also backlit and has that nice curve to it. So I'm kind of just looking at flowers in a sense that they have some character that you can read more into it, but without that obvious connection to to any eyes and facial features.
Right. That's a great, that's awesome, because that's one of the things that, instead of just snap shooting, you're really thinking about, the person while you're photographing, and your mom. That looks great though, because your mom has the colors, and the backlighting. I mean, it's totally, that's perfect. Does she have that flower? You should give that to her.
No, that flower is in Alaska. And I looking at things that I can't pose a flower like I can a person. I might be able to walk around it, but I can't really ask it to lift its leaves or lift its head or smile. So
Yes.
I have I have limitations when it comes to flowers, but what I can do is I can choose how to light it and how to approach it, and my vantage point, for example, and my exposure, and then also how to edit it. So
Gotcha. Yeah. Let's go to the next one. Tell me about this one. This is
sure.
cool.
So this is about motion and how motion can have a sort of a connotation to emotion. And this is Bailey. She's Jackie Artichok's granddaughter, and she's twirling with a big shawl. And I liken that to the Rudbeckia, which was blowing in the wind in Fairbanks, Alaska. It was in a crowded bed of flowers, and it was an extremely windy day. So it's actually a multiple image. And I just like the way it makes you feel that you're actually caught up in the wind, and it gives you a sense of energy.
Yes, it does. Wow, that's great to know too. See, I love that because we can feel it, and yet also you're saying that it was a windy day, and sometimes people would just be like, "Oh, it's so windy, I can't get the shot." And I'm like, "Whoa, look at how pretty." Let me see if I can just
Well, and to the photographers out there, it's actually two images, because it was almost impossible to get a decent shot. And I didn't know, you ask if I have a vision when I go out, and many times I don't. I didn't know exactly whether it was going to work out or not, but I say, do what you can. And then when you get back to the computer and you're uploading and you're thinking about how you can make art with it, that's when you can make those decisions as to whether or not you have something that's useful.
Gotcha. Yeah, perfect. And everyone, we're going to be able to talk about this. Oh, before we do that, let's do this one. Okay, tell me about this. Oh, we have some questions too. Okay, we'll let Jackie finish this, and then we'll look at the questions.
This is the last one of these. This is Archana Mishra. She was dressed in traditional Indian wardrobe with a vintage umbrella that I had, and we were in Alaska just before they moved. Those are whale rib bones, and this is at the Alaska Native Heritage Center. And so we were outdoors. We have lighting. It's a much more formal shot. And the poppy and tulip below are shot in similar fashion. They're very carefully lit, and I'm laying on the ground to get the poppy because I wanted the dark sky in the background, and the tulip is light painted. So I liken them to the images of Archana, in which she's very posed, and we really gave a lot of thought to how we wanted the finished look to come out. And that's all. I'm just kind of doing the exact opposite of what I did with the motion in still life.
Gotcha. See, that's great. Yeah. So it gives you the variety of creation, that's exciting, instead of doing the same thing. Okay. So let me go ahead. So Jan says, what is your favorite flower to shoot? That's one question.
Oh, well, I like a lot of flowers, and I don't know if you can see, but behind me, I went to the store so I'd have something floral in the background today, and our florist has some of the best flowers. So let me, if I could grab you a couple that I really like.
Yeah, I think everybody would love that. And then let's see. So Bill has a question. So Bill, I'll ask Jackie as soon as we get back. Hi, Burma. Hello. And just to let you guys know, we're about 30 seconds to a minute delayed. So if we are delayed, answering your question, that's one of the reasons.
Well, okay. It's hard to go wrong with tulips.
Oh, yeah. Those are beautiful. Yes. Yes.
Can you see them?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yep. Perfect.
Love tulips. These are some of my favorites. Lisianthus.
Oh, those are beautiful.
They hold up really well, and they have a nice curve to them.
Yes, those are really pretty. And one thing
white, pink, and then the multicolor, white and purple, and then purple. And I've got some more flowers back there. They have some giant lilies. So I like it when you get some light coming through the petals.
Right. So do I. I think it's beautiful. One thing I noticed too, Jackie, is that your flowers, girl, and the common name and the scientific name. I was like, when you were writing stuff down, I was like, wow, she's got it down. Very, very cool. Let me see. Bill, let me see. Oh, so Burma's from New York. Hello. Okay.
Oh, hi, Burmia.
Yeah, Burbia. See, I told you, Jackie, I butchered names, and I'm so sorry if I do.
That's okay.
So, Bill asks, what percentage of your flower photos are shot using a tripod?
Very few. I shoot indoors with a tripod most of the time, and I shoot outdoors without a tripod most of the time.
See, that's good to know. With that, we're going to go into before and afters. I'll go into Lightroom right now. Or is that's what you have? Well, I don't know if it's before and after. Let me share with you this one, and you could tell me, whoa, it's up high. You could tell me, this is the one you had next. So tell me about this.
I was just going to share some in sort of a progression of how complicated the edits are.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, what I sent you first were some that were that went into Lightroom and came out with very little editing. So I there we go. That's just a simple white orchid, and I like to start with that one because of the simplicity of it. There are very little lines, very little color, and yet you know what it is, and you have a little bit of depth going into it as well. And then you can actually remove the color as you go to the next one. And it's still quite beautiful to me because you know what it is. And that's shot through some other white Phalaenopsis orchids.
That's beautiful. So now this one has very little, you say post-processing, correct? So when you shot this?
Correct.
Okay. I'm curious, did you light to get the, the deepness? Or how sometimes, these flowers just get really dark in here. Did you do anything special to get deep inside there? See, here's the colored one you could see inside. So that was really cool. Is this like natural light or?
I don't remember if I augmented with any light or not.
Okay, because that looks really good.
I don't remember. I'd have to look back.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if I used a reflector. I wouldn't know. Mm-hmm. But chances are I don't think I did. I remember where I was on that day. And I don't think I used any light with it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it just probably had a good light source, natural.
Yeah, I think the white petals did a good job of
reflecting.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a beautiful one. And this
And
is outdoors?
this is outdoors at Swan Island. I'm going to be doing a workshop. We'll talk about that later with Padma there at the end of the summer. And that is just a straight shot of a dahlia. And I'm pretty sure I used my 100 mm macro for that one.
Yeah, that is beautiful. Here's another one. And I
And
love the bee. So pretty. Now, what is this called? What is this one called?
that is a lotus.
Lotus. Lotus.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay.
That was at Kenilworth, and it was just beautiful there. There's pond upon pond of lotus flowers and some water lilies, and but it's extremely hot. Go early.
Here's another. So this is a lotus also. This is one of my favorites, Jackie. I just absolutely love this. And this is little editing, is what you're saying? Is this little or more editing?
The difference between this one and the last one is that for this one, I shot through some greenery. So it helped kind of put a veil on it, so to speak. So this was in Florida, and it was the only large white lotus that was in fairly good shape in that area. It was very crowded and not as pristine as one might find at some of the other gardens. But I like it like that, and that's kind of what I wanted to portray, is just kind of feeling like you're in that emerald jungle.
I think that's why I like it so much, because I love macro and getting up close like this. And so to be able to like peek into this beautiful flower and have, the light is gorgeous. Did you do that in post, or was that part of the location?
It was the location. I was actually standing on a little pedestrian bridge, and so it was fairly far from me as macro goes. So I was not able to cast any light or diffuse any light from it. It was just the way the sun was on it.
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely gorgeous. I just love
you.
it.
And I remember it started to sprinkle. It was a little bit rainy that day.
Yeah. I see that it just adds a little bit more. It's so pretty. Let me give a feel to everyone. Just gorgeous. Yeah. Okay, so let me see. We got more questions. I love it, you guys. I'm enjoying learning your techniques, Jackie. This is from Diane. So nice of you to share. And then Swamp Dude says, how often do you tweak out blemishes?
All the time.
Yeah, like look at this one. Whoa. I mean, this is so pretty and elegant that I know you spent time cleaning, because when you're in nature like that, oh my gosh, of course.
I have to give credit to my friend Charlene Rector. This is her dahlia in her yard, and there wasn't a blemish or a bug on this flower.
Oh my gosh, that is like incredible.
Yes, it is. It's quite amazing. I could spend a whole day there and still not be done shooting. And the magenta color in the front is just another dahlia that I put up close to my lens and just pushed right into it. And then it caused that kind of a mist around the dahlia that I was focused on.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, here's another beauty, you guys. This is, I like this, the way you shoot through there's a lot when people go out photographing outdoors. What I see a lot of time is the negative space distracts from the positive space. But with your images, your negative space really, really enhances your positive, which is the goal, the focus point. And this one is a perfect example of how beautiful you've used the focus of that gorgeous flower and the beauty of the negative space of behind, all around it. It just like sucks it in, where your just eyes goes right there. Beautiful.
Well, and I wanted to share this because later, as we move through the images, you'll see where I have done some of that in Photoshop. But this is 100% natural. It was shot at Swan Island again. And when you're looking down some of the rows, sometimes you get lucky and you can see an opening that kind of gives you a window beyond. So this is shot with my 180 millimeter Canon macro lens, and that haze is really just flowers that are very close to me, and the flowers that are in focus are farther away.
Yeah, wow, that looks so beautiful. Uh, yeah, I caught that one. Thank you, AD. AD's got my back here. Do you mostly use flash, reflectors, or natural light? And that's from Burmia.
Okay, this one was totally natural, and it was just about at the edge of acceptability in terms of the heat and intensity of the sun. The sun was getting so strong and casting harsh shadows, but when I shoot with my 180, it's pretty much beyond arm's length for one thing, so I can't get a diffuser out to it, and you don't walk in the beds or down the rows there. So I was shooting, but after this, at that time of day, I pretty much had to go to flowers that were closer to me so that I can hold my diffuser up.
Oh, see?
Sometimes I use a flashlight, sometimes I use my speed light, sometimes I use my reflector, sometimes I use the diffuser, and sometimes I use the diffuser in combination with any one of those things.
So that's perfect.
It just depends on the conditions.
This situation. We have an equipment section too. So I don't know if you have any goodies next to you. We'll grab.
I don't, but I talk about it. I can.
Okay.
I have a few things close by.
Okay, we could do that after. Let's go ahead and go on with your images. We just have the equipment segment. So but see now this one. Let us know about this one. This is a Delilah, right?
It's a dahlia.
Dahlia.
Dahlia Delilah.
You know what? I photograph flowers. You know that. I think that was one of the first things that I showed. You said, "Oh, this is perfect," in our group when I shared one of my images, and you said, "Oh, we love those because they grow in my front yard." I mean, I just love these flowers. Are beautiful.
Oh yes, everybody loves dahlias. They're hard not to love. This is the same technique, but it's like pushed into the bushes. And that's with the 100 millimeter macro. So
and when you mean
much closer.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask you. When you mean pushed into the bushes, so you mean the flower itself is pushed in?
No, my camera. You see all.
Oh, your camera is. God,
yeah, that watercolory sort of effect where the leaves are blurred. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, and then here is the look at this. This is, and now where did you go to get this?
Oh, this now we're in an area of the images that I sent where I feel like sometimes they tell a story, and the story behind this was how cold it was when I was just in La Conner and Mount Vernon, Washington in April. Charlene and I were down there and we were photographing in 40-degree weather, and she's from Alaska and I've lived in Alaska for 29 years. So we know how to dress for cold. But it was really raining so hard the day before, and we got lucky. And then this morning we went out and things were behind by several weeks, the bloom. So I was laying in a gully and I was pointed at the tulip in the middle with the kind of the weakest stem that kind of allowed it to blow in the middle. Exactly. And earlier that morning, there was a lady that said, "Well, have a great day." And I said, "Well, it's supposed to get really windy and stormy." And she said, "Well, sometimes wind can do good things." And I thought, just bite your tongue. Don't be, don't be a complainer. And I got out there. Just after I did this, the wind came, and I thought about what that lady said. And if you go to the next image, you'll see how right she was.
Yes, so look at
that. This is the result of the wind. And so as opposed to the earlier images where I had flowers that were close to my lens, giving me that hazy effect, this pink haze is the result of the motion of the taller, stronger tulips that protected that one that had kind of fallen down in the center. And so that one in the center was now kind of getting gently blown, but I could basically create this look by keeping my focus on that one and allowing the other ones to blur around it.
Which is really nice. It kind of reminds me of like a family protecting their baby, you know?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's great.
And friends and any
Yes, and friends.
community that, you know,
Hmm.
that really kind of looks out for each other.
Exactly. Very nice. Hey, oh, AD, you don't want to just tell us out loud with everyone? Okay, AD's asking Jackie a question of how does Jackie get the blurring feel? Is that what you said? Oh. Hmm.
Well, I have to tell you, I honestly don't know who to credit with that, um, because we have
AD's
so many
talking about
people
blurring.
that are so talented in our group, and I literally learn something new every day just by observing and watching. And before I started the group, I learned from a variety of sources. So I honestly don't know at what point that entered into my brain, and my techniques, but we know about blurring the backgrounds. It's blurring the foreground. A lot of people have been doing that. I know Valerie Interligi is probably on the phone, or will watch later. She's been doing it for years, either with Vaseline or veils. You can get chiffon or a variety of things fabrics that you can put in front of your lenses and maybe cut a hole in front of it. So now with the advent of YouTube and all kinds of videos, webinars, Creative Live, Kelby One, and all of those. There's just no end of techniques that one can learn about if you just go out there and Google one thing or another. But it just kind of fell into my bag of techniques somewhere along the way.
Yeah, it's great. Well, there's so much in your fluorography group that I'm inspired when I get in there. I wish I could get in there more. It's just like time is always a killer.
Oh,
But when I'm
I
there,
know.
boy, I'll tell you.
I belong to other groups too, and I struggle now to keep up with my own. So yeah, it's very hard to really kind of stay current anywhere but your own group if you've got something going.
Exactly. Well, look at this one. This one is one of my favorites also. Now, did you place this flower like this or was the flower like that?
No, I didn't. That was in Belize, and it was just dangling there, one hibiscus that caught another. And it's in this storytelling genre that I like, how in one image you can tell a story. I didn't place it there, and I didn't pull it off either, but I liked it, and I think that it represents a number of different metaphors for life, and it's up to the viewer to make it their own.
Yeah, true. We have a couple questions. Do you use autofocus or manual focus more? That's from Chris.
I don't. When I'm using certain lenses, I use manual focus because they won't autofocus at all.
Yeah.
When I'm using a lens that will autofocus and it's doing a good job, then I autofocus. Does that?
Okay.
So it really depends on the student. If I'm shooting indoors, it's always indoors on a tripod. I'll put it in manual focus 90% of the time and get my focus dialed in with live view.
Gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. Let's see. Have you ever used a 4/3 system? I don't even know what that is. If so,
Yes.
how do you find a crop sensor different? Oh, the crop sensor from full frame. See, I use a full frame, so I don't even know what a crop. I don't know.
Well, the 4/3 are the equivalent of 2 times.
Mhm.
So if I had a 100 millimeter on my full frame, that would be, you took 100 millimeter and put it on, say, for example, an Olympus, you would be looking at twice what I see. It would double
Right.
magnification. So
Yeah,
it'd be
we talked.
one of 200 millimeter. So yes, I've shot with that for a while, and a lot of our people have that. Eileen Skwan has an Olympus, and she does magnificent work with it. So do a lot of other people in the group. So it's quite possible to get fabulous images with that as well. You just have to bear in mind that if I'm talking about a specific lens and the focal length, that it won't translate one-to-one to what you might be using if you have a micro four thirds.
Gotcha. Okay, great. And then what do you recommend doing to get bokeh as close as soft as possible as you would with your 180 when you're using a 60 millimeter? And that's from Wearing Smile.
I'm not sure I know how to answer that. When you're
shooting.
using a 60 millimeter, you're probably going to be a little bit closer. If you have a 60 millimeter on a full frame, it's going to be, you're going to have to be a lot closer than I would if I have a 180 on a full frame. If you have the 60 millimeter on,
she has Olympus, or they have Olympus.
Okay, so, you know, honestly, I've used that camera with the 60 millimeter. It gave me a different bokeh. And I think it takes some getting used to, but I definitely got a different bokeh. I get a bokeh that I really like with my Canon and also with my Lensbabies, but my Canon 100 and 180 they give me the results that I really like. There are some vintage lens that I like using, but those are not my go-to lenses.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's do this one right here. This is pretty.
Okay, well, that was good timing because this is a Lensbaby lens, and I believe that was the Sweet 35. And those lenses allow you to tilt, so you can shift the focus, the focal point, and it's the sweet spot of focus. And from that sweet spot, everything else starts to radiate, and it basically bends the light. So that bokeh in the background there is produced by specular highlights or not highlights, but they would come in as blown out areas in some cases with my regular lens. But I love the results here. When the sun gets to a certain point and you still have some light, you can play with it as it comes in and filters through the leaves and the petals and gives you that effect that you get almost always when you're fairly wide open, say at like around 2.8 or maybe even lower. So that's why I use the Lensbabies, but it's definitely all manual, everything, all manual focus and exposure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've heard about. I don't have one, but I've heard about it. Now, is this this the same type of thing?
No, that's with my 180, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I just wanted to share an abstract and just mention that not all flowers and leaves and plants have to be in focus all the time.
Yes, exactly. And here's another one.
That's with another Lensbaby, and this is shot with the Lensbaby Velvet 85, which gives you a kind of a velvety glow when it's wider, and you can stop it down to f16 and get things in focus a lot more. But I like that glow, and what I did to enhance the glow was I took it slightly out of focus as well. So I consider this to be an abstract.
Yeah, it is. It's an abstract. It's elegant, very elegant. Here we go with now. How about this?
This is a Lensbaby also. And to those of you who asked about lighting, this is hardly edited at all. And that's one thing I do love about the Lensbabies is you hardly have to edit them. The colors are saturated to perfection in most cases. And you can see how the lens was tilted. I set it so that the calla lily was in focus, but the bottle that it was in goes out of focus and drops fast. The colors are derived from gels on my speed lights. So I had 3 different colors. I had aqua, purple, and magenta. And so you start to play with that and you can kind of dial it in. And I have those directed at the background and on the table rather than at the orange calla lily because I didn't want to alter the color of the calla lily itself. So you start to blend them and you can move them so that the colors start to bleed in and kind of give you a natural look. So that's all done in camera.
That's beautiful, Jackie.
Thank you.
That is just absolutely gorgeous. And I love doing studio stuff. So this stuff is floating my boat. This is gorgeous too.
Oh, thank you. This is light painted, and I think I sent you one that probably needs a little bit more tweaking. I can see it in this. I probably didn't get the final image to you, but that's light painted, and I do teach classes on that technique. But there's also light boxes and light pads and a variety of other techniques to do indoors.
Yes, when the snowing. Did you want to say something else about that one? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Here's another beauty.
So that's the same technique, and it's the background on this one is an image that I took and had printed and was just hanging on the wall, and I needed something to wedge on my kitchen counter between the counter and the the cabinets to cover up the outlets. So I took it off the wall and I put it behind there, and I used flashlights to paint the light on these in darkness.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Okay. Wait, we're going to go here. These are my favorite because it tells you your thought process. So here is the before, and then here's Jackie's after. And green is hard. Green is a hard color. Like when, to have, we see it so much, but sometimes green can be boring. Well, this is not boring at all. And then, so when you saw this, I have a question. Did you feel a vision, or you just loved the way the composition was at the time and you thought maybe later? I was just curious on your thought process with shooting here and your thought process when you actually went to this. So could you talk about
I had no vision in mind when I shot that. Mm-hmm. It was that day at Kenilworth, and I just found them interesting. Mm-hmm. And I had a lot of cleanup to do, as you can see on the stems, and the background was boring. It didn't enhance it in any way. The finished piece is a combination of a few images because I had to sort of what I call focus blend them to get the focus on from the front to the back on both of the seed pods. So they're both lotus pods, and I thought it was kind of an interesting composition that the way they were crisscrossed over. So we themes and florography every week, and I think I posted this one for the yin and yang theme.
Oh yeah, I do. I remember that. Yeah, I do. I remember that. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, very, very pretty. And then this one. This is outdoors, and
so this is with very little editing in Lightroom, and then so we're in the section here where it's more of an artistic photoshopped effect. So you could stop right here, or you could continue on. So I took that one and I worked with it because I really liked the peach color. It's hard to see it in here, but I accentuated it by adding some layers, and that's the finished.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Very pretty. Very, very pretty. Now, is that an iris?
That is an orchid.
It's an orchid. Jeez Louise. I'm so bad today. I'm so bad.
You got it right, it's a flower.
Oh my gosh. Okay, just don't mind me. Okay, here we go with this one.
Okay, these are camellias. And they were in North Carolina not too long ago in Wilmington, Airlie Gardens. And that's the before. Again, as I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not sure what stage this is. I had to shoot several images in order to get the centers in focus and some of the petals. I don't necessarily want or need them to be in focus from the very, very front to the very, very back. But I do like to, when I can, at least get the images into my camera so they have them in my catalog. So if I do want to focus blend, I have that option, and I can say, well, I didn't quite get the entire area, the center and all the stamens in focus. So if I have enough images to source from, then I can do that. And so I did that. And then I thought, to me, my thought process is in the editing stage, These are beautiful pink flowers, and they have a light, airy feeling to them, but they're against a very dark background. And you see that quite often with camellias and peonies. They're on bushes with deep, dark green leaves. And it's hard to extract them and do something with them naturally. So I would take it into Photoshop, and I thought about it, and that's how I finished it.
And that is just wow. Now, when you finish something like this, are you like, yes, this is what I envision? Do you ever go back later, or
well, actually, I have two versions of the finished piece of this one in particular, but I didn't want to confuse you and give them both. But so sometimes I do, because it's our prerogative. We can have something 2 ways or a dozen ways if we want, right?
Exactly. That's what I say. Right. Heck yeah, I do that all the time. Sometimes I feel like cold, and then sometimes I feel warm. So I have two different ones.
We don't have to eat the same meal for lunch every day.
Exactly. Okay, here we go with this one.
So this is a poinsettia tree at Fairchild Tropical Botanical Garden in Miami. And there wasn't too much blooming. It was right around Thanksgiving this past year. So I look at that, and it's I believe this one is shot with a Lensbaby, velvet or sweet. I'd have to look it up, but it's definitely a Lensbaby. So there's a very small sliver of focus. The depth of field is very shallow. Yes, and that's intentional. And I'm okay with that in these images. But I wanted to look more fiery. And so what I did was I added another layer, and I think I gave you the layer that came over it. There we go. These are Christmas ornaments or candles, like a votive large with a gold center. So it was painted gold in the center, shiny. And I shot it with a Lensbaby. And I do some of these, and I just put them in my Lightroom catalog. And when I'm at the computer, it's almost like an artist with a paintbrush and an idea. You're either using references or ideas in your head, and you go, yes, I want something a little bit fiery. I don't want bright sparkly. I want fiery. And so I'll look back at some of the images I've got, and I like to incorporate images that I've shot myself, so that I know everything that I've done myself. So this is one of the images, and I layered it into it, and that's the final result.
Yeah, that's great. So that's a good tip, everyone. So shoot other things that you think that you might want to blend with, and have a file, for that. That's a great tip for people to do, and to have. So then here's another one that you've done too. So let's talk about this one quickly, because I've been talking so long that I'm enjoying this, that I say this show's only an hour, and we haven't got to the critique yet.
I'll go quickly through the next.
Okay. Well, and we have questions. Well, let's get through Jackie's, and then
I might only have 2 more. So,
yes. Okay.
And I'll talk quickly. This is a reflection. It's at Selby Botanical Gardens. It's a reflection of a statue in the water, and you can see the ripples in the water. If you go to the next one, you'll see that I flipped it upside down.
Yes.
There you go. And then I have a shot of the stained glass window. There we go, which is at the mansion, also at Selby, shot with a Lensbaby. That gives it that glow. I laid that one over the flipped version of the statue in the water, and there's my final image.
Isn't that great, guys? Look at that. That is so cool.
Thank you. So it's all from the same place. I feel like in that regard, then it sort of has that DNA kind of that in common.
Right. I love that. Yeah, that's great. And then here is the first one.
Before.
Yes. And then you took this one and you did that at the same place?
Actually, that was the Portland Botanical Garden. I'm not sure where I did this one, but it would have been right around that time frame. And so I felt like the background was a little bit flat, and I thought this could help it.
And it sure did. It sure did. Okay, this one's fun too. Okay, let me see. Here we go. This one's really fun, and I'm glad that you saved this to the last because this is one of my favorites too. So here's the first one, which is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, I liked the colors. I liked the way it kind of looked like it had wings, sort of like an angel. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it because there were some distracting elements. So I needed to deal with that. There's a little blemish on the upper petal, which I kind of can live with because it makes it look a little bit human. So some blemishes are okay. It's almost like a scar, and I'm proud of it. So go to the next one then.
Okay, that's
This is another layer. It's the sky, a sunset in the sky.
And here's a layer.
More Christmas ornaments.
Oh, okay.
And more Christmas ornaments. And I flipped that one. I added it to the last two, and then I layered it on. And I'm in simplifying, but there's the final image.
Yeah, look at you could see it though. I mean, but you know what? It's just so elegantly painted in that it flows nicely. So let me just do this real quick. Here's one. Then she took this. She took this. She went here, and bam. Beautiful, Jackie.
So it feels to me like it's like an angel flying over the heavens, and the sun is setting, and that made the image for me.
Yes, it's just so beautiful, and I'm so happy that you sent these. Let's go ahead and go to us, and then we will answer some questions. But wow, Jackie, those are just absolutely gorgeous. Let's see let me go through. Beautiful work, Jackie, from Bill. You're very talented, and thank you for sharing your insights. Let's see. Yes, talk about texture, please. Created, or does she buy them? Well, she's told you that she actually creates her own. Jackie, okay, they talked about textures. She did. Let's see. These are before and after. Is there anything I'm missing? How do you track each group of photos? Like 20 shots of a camellia angle, then shoot your hand. Okay. You know, when you're like doing
do that.
That's what I do. Anything to stop, because after a while it becomes all blurry. You know. You know. So yeah, if there's anything else, let's see. Lotus Pod, is that textured? Yes. So if I'm missing anything, you guys, what I'll do is we can go through the comments below, and if there's something, I could just ask Jackie, and then I'll throw it in the comments. Is that okay, Jackie? Because we're running.
Absolutely. Join Fluorography, and then you can ask me there.
Yeah, there you go. And the link will be down there too. So what we're going to do next first is that we do have a critique area and or section. And so Jackie has, you did get the images, didn't you, Jackie? Did you get my images? Okay, wonderful. So we have 2 images that we're going to share. If you guys want to add your images to the show, you could do it 2 ways. You can go to my website, which is sullivanjphotography.com. Macro Chat Live is, Macro Chat Live. And then also you could join the Facebook group. A lot of people haven't really joined that Facebook group. That's okay, because you could do it through that. And then I have professional macro photography, and that actually has over 3,000 people in that group. And so I kind of combine them. I leave the macro for the close-up, and the other one is just purely macro. Like those people only can do 1-to-1. You can only get up close. It's not like a close-up thing. But you guys can submit your stuff there for the show. And now what we'll do is we'll do critique time.
No, we should be good now. Let's see if they're hearing you. You might want to ask him.
Audio's gone. I did see that.
What was the last thing they heard? Okay.
I just messaged him and said, "Is it still got?" Oh, it says good now. Yes. Okay. Did you guys get to hear Paul's information, or was it Jackie's that was gone? Let us.
I'll repeat that. So, Paul,
Okay.
what I was saying is your work is beautiful. I know it from the group, and I want to send kudos to you and the other gal for sending your images in for input from me. My thoughts on this are that your flower is center stage. Borage is hard to photograph. They're small. I love the little hairs and the dew that's on them, and you did a fabulous job with your stacking. The things that I would change are I would probably have eliminated the bud in the foreground. It's a detracting element, and the flowers in the background, I would make them more blurry and take out the highlights, especially those specular highlights, that circle in the upper left. Make that much more blurred. And then the big drop in the front, I kind of want that to either be gone or more in focus, since you have so much in focus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the flower is great. The composition is great. The center pointy part of it is great. And the tiny drop on it is in great focus. And your ant is in focus. And what I was saying is I would have probably gotten rid of the ant because I don't see the ant at all when I first look at this flower. I didn't even know it was there until I read your description of it. And so I feel like if you want the ant to be the subject, I would have cropped in significantly and made forced my eyes to see that ant climbing on the flower as if it was a man climbing up a mountain. If you have a wide angle shot of a mountain scene and you've got a small person, it does show scale. And so I like that for scientific reasons. But in terms of artistic, I prefer that the ant, if it's small like this or large or whatever size the ant is, it's fighting with all of the other elements that are in focus and that are much bigger than the ant. So I would have probably taken the ant away or zoomed way in on it. But I think it's a great shot.
Yeah, I also thought I just love all the little water drops on all this stuff. And, I could tell that he was doing some photo stacking. I did email him and asked him what he was using to photo stack. And he said that he had used Photoshop. And the only reason why I photo stack all the time. And so I had noticed that he had missed some of it in here, but it's not such a big it's not such a big deal because I don't like to have everything in focus when I focus stack. But you know what, Jackie, you were saying how so since it's already, I totally agree with what you're saying about the background in the front because it's pulling us away from the main subject, which is the flower. For this shooting later, but what I did was I just quickly just cropped it. And it removed some of the background and kind of took us away from this a little bit. But I agree with Jackie. So when you're focusing on the main subject, that's got to be like boom. But it's just such a beautiful colors. I just love all the colors and I love the water. And the ant is really cool too. But I agree. I think because, it is fighting, but there's no light on the ant either. So it's kind of like a small little dark thing. Maybe if the sun was on it or something, and maybe, then it would be part of it or something. But I still feel like it's just like all those little water drops. And it's a beautiful flower. See, I've never seen a flower like this. I don't know if Southern California, I don't know, but it's just so pretty.
They're hard to shoot. They really are. I think you did a marvelous job, Paul.
Yes. Yeah, I think so too. It's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. Let me find my mouse, and we're going to go to the second one. And this one's from Anne, and she's from my group. And Anne shot this at a 100 millimeter 97 ISO 100, 97 millimeters. She used an f11 and 1/5. She used a Sony mirrorless 8-6300, and what she did was she shot this pony close up to show how the flower almost ruffles like a formal gown. So soft was her goal.
Okay.
Do you have any?
All right, very nice, Anne. I think you did a nice job rendering the whites and the cream colors and the shadows and everything. What I would suggest, if it were me, I would want to see some of the center. It looks like the flower is turned out toward the left with the center kind of almost going off the screen. So I don't see the center at all. And I'm not sure if you can even see it because of the way the petals are folded on it. So this is a tough shot. And I think let me liken it to this. If you were looking at a scene at an ocean and you've got waves and you've got the sunset, that's kind of like looking at a scene of wildflowers in the wild. When you come in and you look at the plant that's zooming in, even zooming in from the garden, and you come in, then you've got the flower itself. When you start to do a very close up here, and you don't have the edges of the flower, you don't have the whole flower, it's kind of like looking at the wave, but I want to see more than the foam. And I feel like all I got here was the foam of the wave. I want to see the curve of the wave and the energy. I want to know that it's really a wave and what direction it's going in. And so that's what I would recommend, is if you're going to do these close-ups, there's a thin line between abstract and something that you might use as a texture. So this kind of walks that line. I feel like I want to grab onto something here. So kind of like that curve of the wave rather than the foam.
Yeah, I feel like it's really elegant and soft and pretty, and I know that she's going for the soft. I think for me, though, the repetition of flowers can be really pretty, and this it feels a little out of sorts. I do like the way these two are like holding each other, kind of, these two petals. So maybe if it was more of maybe this being soft and then you working within the flower, what excites you with getting up close, then because I think it's fairly flat, that our eyes are going everywhere. Does that make sense?
Yes, you're right. Like I like when you look at composition and you try to at least either conform to traditional rules or create your own rules, you want to bring the viewer in at some place. And it's either going to be the brightest or maybe the darkest, but usually the brightest part. And you want to invite them into your scene and take them on a journey, a visual journey. And by the time they're done, their eyes are going to follow them around in your image. And I like it when they walk away with a visceral reaction. So it's more than just a landing spot. So it's not just the destination is not you've arrived. It's the journey that takes someone there, and they then feel it in their gut. And that's kind of what I want. I like to, like the ant is climbing up the thing, and I like to see that whole thing. And here I want to see a little bit more, bring my eyes into a point.
Right. That's great advice. And I can see it. We can go back to SAAD. And I can see that in your work too, because that's what I was talking about. The negative space is everything that you have within that is a feel. And I have my dog because the other dog was barking a lot. This is Coco. And I didn't want her to bark when you were talking. So we'll go quickly into equipment just to chat a little bit about your equipment. And I do want to give a shout out to Hunts. But talk about your equipment. Like, what's your favorite? Tell me what your favorite stuff is that you love to use.
Sure. Well, my favorite equipment is, of course, my Canon. I shoot with a Canon 5D Mark IV. I have a 1DX, which I use for wildlife, but I use the Mark IV because it's a little bit lighter than the 1DX and it's quieter and it's I can push my ISO. I like it's full frame. I have a Canon 100 millimeter, which my husband gave me about 10 years ago, and I only shot with that 100 millimeter for about 5 years. I really felt like that was all I needed for a very long time, and I think that's important to know. We do not need to go out and accumulate a lot of gear before you really get familiar with what you have. Once you are familiar with what you have, then go ahead and have fun. But really first get to know what you have in your bag, or buy a really good macro lens. If you don't have the ability to give yourself a wide aperture and open your lens up, you're going to struggle with getting the same depth of field and the bokeh that you'll see in other images. So I like my 100 millimeter. The next lens I got, which I fell in love with, was my 180 millimeter, also by Canon. It opens to a 3.5 aperture and it gives me more reach. I love that lens because if I had one lens to choose and throw in my bag, that would be the one. It would be my 180 millimeter. And then I do love my Lensbabies. I have both the Velvet 56, 85, and the Sweets, the 35 and the 50. And let's see, I got the Soul 45, and I've got an old vintage Lensbaby and a couple of old vintage Helios lenses. And I love them all. That's what I do macro with. And some of the images are not macros. Some of them are shot, like especially some of the light painted ones are shot with my 24-70 lens. So it just depends on what you have handy and what fits, the conditions that you're shooting in.
Right.
I use my Canon, my 580 EX RT speed light. And I do that sometimes. I bounce it wherever I can if I need to add light, or I'll add a flashlight, and not necessarily directly at the flowers. Sometimes I'll backlight them or bounce it off of something. I use reflectors, and if I'm outside and the sun is too much, I'll use diffuser. And I really like the 22-inch diffusers and then the small reflectors.
Oh, that's great. See, that's great info. What we'll do is we'll put most of it down below.
Yeah, we'll put it down. Hunts is offering 15% off of all Lensbabies, and I think 20% off of all used macro lenses.
Yes.
So all you have to do is write to Gary at gfarber@huntsphoto.com, and there's a link on my website as well.
Yeah, I'm going to put, so Hunts is from the East Coast, but do they ship to California?
Oh, yes.
Okay, because I was looking them up because we were talking about them, and I thought, oh, this is great. So anyways, you guys, Hunts is doing this for Jackie. So I'm going to put the link down below. Save your 15% off of Lensbabies with the link. And then if you have a problem, then I'll have the email. Also, you could save 20% on all used macro lenses. Maybe I'll grab that 180. Oh, he doesn't have the 180 up here. Some lenses currently available as a one.
They're tough to find, but you know what? If you take that plunge and make the investment, they're worth it. It does take a lot more finesse. I definitely would not start with a 180. Don't take, if this is your first macro, that's not the place to start. Start with the 100 or equivalent.
Right, exactly. So I'll put the lenses down below that's currently available, but I want to thank Hunts. I appreciate that. So you guys can rock on that discount. And then what we're going to do is I want to talk to Jackie about what she is up to. I have her website up. So I also want to know, do you have any other projects that you're up to? What are you doing now? Are you exploring new ways to photograph? Or I know you're a busy woman because we're going to show your workshops, but is there anything that you're doing differently or just exploring, or what are you up to, Jackie?
No new projects right now that are ready for prime time. I'm working on just kind of getting everything in order for the season. The Clyde Butcher exhibit is something I'm very excited about. I haven't done an exhibit in a long time, and I really admire Clyde for his photography, but also for his conservation ethics and how much he has done to get the word out to everybody and increase awareness about the importance of our natural environment. And
sure. Yeah, there we go. Andy's got it up. I just wanted people to see it. Go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about that opportunity to show in his gallery, which is in the Everglades in the Big Cypress National Park and or National Preserve. It's really an amazing opportunity to have my work hanging in under the same roof as Clyde. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm looking forward to getting some of my work printed for that. I'm in the process of doing that now. So that's my current project,
that's
so to speak.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah. And then
congratulations.
Thank you very much, Janice.
And then you have this, you are, like I said, you are one busy woman, but you guys, look at this. You guys definitely check this out. April, you're going to be, so you're in Pennsylvania.
So that one is now open to the public. It was open for about a week to the Chester County Camera Club. Thank you, Carol DiGiuseppe, who has organized this. And I'll be there on April the 26th for a single day workshop. And then I really want to put a shout out to my presenters for Fluorographers Unite. We are full. I'll accept names on a wait list right now, but I really want to say thank you to Carol Rasmussen, Nancy Kirkpatrick, Eileen Sklon, and Valerie Interligi for being with me. This is our third year together, and I'm thrilled. They are all fluorographers, and their work is extraordinary. But not only that, they are extraordinary because they make other people feel good about what they do, which really gives them the motivation to become better and go further. And this year, we're going to include Padma Ingava with her lightbox and high key work, and Mariam Bosella, who's coming down from London, Ontario, to teach some shooting practices in the field and Lightroom. So we've got a good group that are all going together to teach in Asheville, and we've got 60 participants coming together for that.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, that's a lot. Oh my gosh, with Jackie, this is, it's so good for people to see this because you're getting a variety of photographers to, they say there's people that say, oh, I'm stuck. Well, you got to go to this. Then you'll explore and be able to try new things. This is wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. So our theme this year is going to be on editing. We'll have 2 days of shooting and 2 days of editing. And then I have a workshop in Victoria, which is a whole different feel. It's more intimate. We only have about 10 to 12 people, and with full garden immersion, lots and lots of shooting, and we will go from morning until we fall into our beds at night, shooting and editing. And I'm happy to say that Olis Garber is going to come. He's a marvelous portrait photographer and does a lot more also with nature. And he's from Jacksonville, Florida. He's going to come out there and teach us about portraits in the garden, and he will also do portraits of the group and each individual who comes.
Oh, that's awesome. And look, here's Dawn. Dawn's been on the show, everyone. So you got to watch Dawn's show. I just had someone say, I loved your show with Dawn. So that was really exciting for me.
Yes, he's incredible. He's just a ball of energy and ideas. And so he's going to come in from Barrie, Ontario, and Andrea Gulix is going to come in from the Netherlands. And I'm organizing this in Bellevue, in the Seattle area, back to back with the same workshop for 3 days in Anchorage, Alaska. So everybody in those workshops will spend a day with each of us.
Oh, that's great. And then here we go with these.
And then Out of Longwood is being organized by the Out of Chicago group. And that's really an honor to be a photographer presenting during that event at Longwood Gardens again, and that's in August. There's amazing photographers. So if you aren't familiar with that event and with that group, check it out. This Out of Longwood workshop will feature all macro photographers. So I wish I could clone myself so I could take it while I was teaching it.
That's awesome. And then here's your last one, the Costa Rica rainforest. That's awesome. That looks like a lot of fun right there.
So that's being organized by Holbrook, and that's about a year from now.
Mhm.
And if you want to get in, it only requires, I believe, a $200 deposit. And it's a small group, and I'm going to go myself and just basically drink in what Costa Rica has to offer. And that is through Holbrook. They're handling all of the arrangements. Everything is provided for us, including the food. So all you have to do is get yourself there. Can we go back up for just a second to Swan Island? Right there.
Oh, yeah, Swan Island. There we go. There we go. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, because a lot of the pictures that we talked about tonight were from Swan Island, and Padma Ingava and I are going to be going there in September, and we're going to shoot, oh gosh, how many acres do they have? About 40 acres of dahlias. I grew dahlias for 20 years in Alaska, and I bought my tubers from Swan Island, so it's very exciting to go there and shoot. They have a lot of plants that are at eye level, so you don't have to lay in the dirt to shoot them.
That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. And then we're also going to go with everybody to the Rose Garden, the Portland International Test Rose Garden, and the Japanese Garden. So we'll be doing all three of those, and then also talking about editing.
Right. Oh, that's good. So you're shooting and then going into editing. Well, that's awesome, Jackie. I totally love. Anything else you want me to share? This is a great information. I will put the link down below to her workshops directly. I really suggest people, just soak in her website. It is loveblooms.com, and it's just been such a pleasure for you to be on the show. And, I can't thank you enough for coming in and joining me and chatting with everyone.
Thank you for all of your hard work and putting all of this together, Janice.
Oh, you know what? I
couldn't.
Oh, thank you. I just couldn't do it without AD, to tell you the truth. I'd be screwing this whole thing. So what I want to do real quick is I just want to let you guys know that the next show will be on the 14th. It's going to be Valentine's Day. That's with little of me. And then we'll have Steve Gettle, which, oh my gosh, wait till you see his work. Very, very cool. Mark your calendars. And I can't say enough. Thank you, Jackie. I knew it was going to be a great show, and it was. And it's just because of all the information you've given me and everyone in the chat. So the chat is still going, and I will make sure that if there's any questions that we have not gone through, we will put it down in the comments. But, gotta go, even though I could do this for hours.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you, Janice. You did a marvelous job. And thank you to all the fluorographers and everybody else who called in.
Yes, yes. Have a good day, evening, afternoon. Cheers, everyone.
Bye-bye.